At the end of the last movie, I asked you to try to develop a function on your own called getPageById, and then to use that and to incorporate it in a page such that our page didn't give errors when we clicked on subjects or on pages. How did you do? Let me show you what I came up with. If you didn't come up with the exact same thing, that's okay, but hopefully this will help you if you had problems figure out exactly where you went wrong. GetPageById was pretty easy. In fact, I just copied and pasted getSubjectById and then went in and made the changes. Everywhere it said subject, I put in the word page. And that worked out pretty well. So my getPageById function does the same thing that my getSubjectById function did. Hopefully you got that all right. I'm going to save that and close it. Let's take a look here at what I did inside of content.php. This is a little bit of overkill now, and I'm going to do some refactoring in just a minute. But what I did was I took select subject, and I found inside the is the subject set, I went ahead and found the selected subject. That's what we had done before. I just moved it up into is set. And then, in the case when the subject was set, I set the page equal to 0, since that would be the ID, and I actually changed it to be SEL_PG, because I wanted to be able to use SEL_page equal to the selected page. And that's equal to null. Just like we didn't find a subject by an ID, I decided that null would be a good way to represent that there was no page that had been found. And then I did the same thing for the other cases. For whether or not a page was set, I gave a default value of select subject of null, or if neither one was set, I gave them both null. I'm going to go ahead and do some refactoring here and drop the subject ID down into here, because there's no reason to use two variables to accomplish this step anymore, right? Now we can do it with only one. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop all those in, and then I can get rid of select page and no longer have to check for these IDs anymore. If we have the value inside the superglobal, it'll find it. If it doesn't, then it won't. So hopefully you came up with something very similar to this in the end. I called my getPageId function here. Now, I had to make a few other changes, and I'm going to have to make another one now. If we look down here, I was asking for whether or not page ID that I'm pulling through my loop was equal to selected page. And I had to change it also to be SEL_PG once I changed the name of that. I'm going to have to change it again now because it's actually going to be page again, but now it's actually a row. And so I'm actually going to be looking for its ID. So now I'm checking to see if the page ID that I'm looking at now is equal to the selected page ID. So I'll just need to make that change there, and the same change will have to happen up here. Instead of select subj, I'll have to do subject and then ID. Now there's no reason single quotes and double quotes we know are the same thing. I just happen to put single quotes this time. Now, when we actually go to display it on the page, I did the same kind of if, and else statements that I did up at the top. But what I did was I checked to see if something was not null. So if our subject was not null, meaning that we have a selected subject that we can work with, then let's go ahead and show the subject page. Else, check to see if the selected page has come back. And if we have that and it's not null, then let's output its menu name. And last of all, if both of them come back null, then nothing is selected, and we just have a simple message that says, select a subject or page to edit. So let's try it out. Let's see how that works. Hopefully you got something very similar, or you can go in and make some quick edits to your code to achieve something similar. And here we go. So now I've got a working navigation, and I'm doing the R part of my CRUD. I'm reading from the database. It's a simple matter for us to go ahead and put more information on this page besides just the page name. For example, right here, I can go ahead and create a div. Let's try and do this with some decent CSS at least. And we'll make it class equals page content. And inside that, we'll put our PHP echo SEL page and then content. And that should give us all of our page content. So I'll save that. We'll go back. And now when we click on one of our pages, we actually get the content. So we've already built something that is going to work for our public area. I mean, we could go ahead and take this same thing and move it over to our public area if we wanted to. So let's keep that in mind, that we now successfully have used these tools to get this far and basically built what we're going to want to use on the public area. We'll do things a little differently by the time we get there. But I just want you to go ahead and sort of make a mental bookmark that this right here is a content management system. Now what we want to do, though, is finish making the rest of the CRUD, the features part of it that we're going to use in the staff area. And that's going to be the create, the update, and delete. Let's see how to create records next.